All right, Christian, Aaron here. Can
Howdy.
you hear me all right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, cool. Now we're
Uh,
just waiting on Chafa again.
okay.
Okay, here he is. All right, so welcome to a special episode of Los Pina Bros. I'm your host, Mr. Pinazombie, and I am joined with two special guests. Announce yourselves.
I
Hey
guess I'll go
everyone.
first. Oh,
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 okay.
oh,
Christian,
never
Christian,
mind.
Christian, Christian,
Stealing my
Christian,
thunder.
Christian.
Okay. Um, hey,
So
I'm
we're going
Christian.
alphabetical order, bro.
Yeah, I'm the C.
I'm the A.
Um, my name's Christian. I also go by Chris. If you know me by Xbox Live fame and infamy, I can also go by XTN Space Dude or XTN underscore Dude. And yep, happy to be here.
Hey everyone. My name's Rafael, but people call me either Rafa or by my gamer tag Aztec.
Azteca, Aztecon. So it's October, so I figured we'd do some Halloween themed type podcast. Maybe do a couple this month, but again, it's up to you and y'all's schedule. But um, yeah, I just wanted to see. I guess started off with like, do you guys have any special traditions or like memorable moments from like Halloween? Like whether it was a favorite costume you guys dressed up in, or like, man, this Halloween was great. I know you have a fantastic story about William watching Dead Silence. Maybe we'll get to that sometime. But yeah, I mean, Christian, do you have any memorable moments for Halloween or like a tradition? Maybe you watch something every year, or you cook something every year, something like that.
Well, I wasn't much into cooking, but every year my mom would do her best to get us ready for Halloween with our costumes and get us out trick or treating. I always remembered the process of getting ready and my costume getting ready. One year we decided to have me be a zombie, and my
Nice.
mom bought me this really cool prosthetic eye. It was like a drooping eye with like blood all around it. This was as if my eye had popped out of its socket, type of thing.
That's pretty dope. How old are you?
I want to say like 8 or 9.
Oh,
So I was pretty
dang.
young. So, well, maybe a little bit older. Maybe I'm exaggerating. And sorry, mom, if I'm making you seem like a bad mother. But I was still pretty young. I was still pretty young. My mom decided to use a glue that she had around the house,
Oh my
and
god.
she swore it was safe.
Not super glue.
I'm still here. It was not super glue. She knew better than that. But the glue, I don't know if you remember that Simpsons episode where Bart had like super glued that faucet on his forehead. So
Yeah.
that wasn't me. That was not me,
Oh,
but
okay.
I had a different reaction. The glue that she had put on me just burned. It burned and irritated the whole night. We went trick or treating from house to house to house. I was sweating because it was, for some reason, it was warm that Halloween, and plus I had all that like makeup and that prosthetic on my face. So I was kind of hot, and I was a chunky kid growing up. So I started sweating. So as I started sweating, the irritation or the chemicals in the glue just started like, it started a nuclear reaction on my actual eye, and it started burning really badly. And every house I would tell my mom, my eye hurts, my eye's burning, my skin's burning. This is not good. It's itching, it's cutting me. She's like, and of course, every parent thinks you're just being a big baby.
Yeah.
They think you're playing around because they're mad that they wasted all that money, all that time, all that hard work getting this prosthetic on your face, looking really cool, only for you to be complaining about the pain. So she
You ain't
thought I
gonna
was,
ruin my day.
yeah, exactly. So she thought I was playing around, but by the time we got home, you could see like all the burn marks and the irritation marks in my eye. And then she actually like put some of it on her. She's like, "Oh, it really does burn." I'm like, "No, you think?" So that was one memorable Halloween moment.
Jesus Christ.
I've had quite a few, but I remember just the processes of like getting dressed up, going out, trick or treating, and having a good time. But that was one of my more memorable favorite moments because of the pain. You remember the the happiest and the most painful times.
For sure, for sure.
Right. I remember going trick or treating with my siblings, and I mean, obviously, everyone goes trick or treating and all that good stuff. But what we used to do was, and I'm sure it wasn't only me, but if we found a house that gave awesome candies, I would just
Hell
take
yeah.
off my mask, get back in line, and ask for more candy. It's not like the owner would have recognized us because there were so many kids back then. I feel like there's less now, but and then we would get home and then we would do like mini trade deals with candy as if we were like trading, drugs or something.
Wheeling and dealing.
Wheeling and dealing,
Let's
exactly.
go.
Or even we would just like we would get home like early enough and people were still trick or treating. We would just give out the candy that we collected, which is I don't know if that's weird. It might just be us, but we did that. So
You gave out like the candy you collected to trick or treaters?
yeah,
Damn, that's pretty sweet.
Oh yeah,
Man,
that's how you
paying it
save a buck.
forward.
Yeah.
Holy shit. No, I mean, we were jerks most of the time. We had some stuff, but like, if we didn't have enough, we're like, yeah, we're not giving any candy out today.
I think the case was for Rafa, same as my family. It's like we would have too much candy. So our parents didn't want us overloading on them, maybe because, well, that was my mom's things. Like, you have way too much candy. I'm just gonna give yours away to
right.
Uh,
to
that's
stragglers.
fair.
We would come
I
back
mean,
with bags of candy.
Yeah.
We started early. As soon as like school was over, we would suit up and then just hit the houses and like we would be out there for 4 or 5 hours and my mom would be like the like the pack mule, just having like
yeah,
those reusable like bags just to carry stuff and we came back with
yeah.
pounds.
That's some like you saying that brings back some good ass memories for sure. Cause like I remember like many of those times. Yeah, you would go until your bag was full, and then my mom would be like, "Come over here, all right, bring that candy over here." And yeah, she would just have a bigger bag, like dump all that shit in this shit and go back up.
We were hustling,
Yeah, for
hustling for that
sure.
candy.
Dude, I remember my feet hurting every night after Halloween. Like, God damn, I walked more than I had this whole year just doing this. But no,
Oh,
yeah, that's dope.
that reminds me of one Halloween I got pennies from
From the bank.
no, I got pennies from a car dealership. So if you're hearing this car dealership on Cicero Avenue, you suck.
Damn, what do you mean? They might have given you one of those pennies that cost like thousands of dollars.
No, he gave us just pennies. He gave me like 3 pennies.
Oh,
Three
three
reg
pennies?
3 regular pennies. Yes.
Oh, hell nah.
Yes. Never went there again.
I mean, I don't blame you. What a jerk. They probably ran out of stuff. It was
I
like,
think
oh,
I think at one point in time, somebody I knew, I think it was my mom or someone, needed to buy a car, and they went into that dealership. But I was like, no. I remember he gave me pennies, so you lost out on a sale there.
damn. Ruff, do you remember any costume that you would put on? Like, damn, that was the cool stuff right there. Like your most memorable costume. If you don't, that's cool. I'm just
I
wondering.
remember a few. I don't know if they're memorable. I had Ghostface on, werewolf,
Nice.
a vampire one, but they're all
Dang, you
like
got the
really
classic.
a blur. And I think some of them were like reused and just kind of mixed between the years. Like I would have a mask from one costume and like the body piece of another one.
Hey, dude,
That
that's
kind of looked like a
badass.
puzzle, like a broke ass puzzle.
You were a Halloween smorgasbord.
Dude,
Yeah,
that's
man.
badass.
You were the thing, the real thing.
Yeah. Like, what are you supposed to be? When you find out, let me know.
'Cause we would always wait last minute to go like to Party City or like the dollar
Oh,
store.
same.
Of course,
And
of
like
course.
everything, there was like either a crazy line or everything that I wanted was like already sold. And like anything left on the shelf was like the really expensive one, like $120 ones,
Or the
Oh
really
which there
yeah.
was no
expensive.
way my mom was getting
Oh
that for
hell no,
us.
no,
So
no
my
way.
mom was like, either you figure out what we have downstairs or like you just go trick or treating like that. So I kind
Figure it
of,
out.
yeah, kind of winged it.
Figure it out. Damn. I mean, I say like for sure. I want to say that like I was blessed very much so with like my dad being in charge of most. I mean, both parents were in charge of the costumes. But like my mom would be more like the makeup artist, and then my dad would be like practical, gear, prosthetics or whatever type of guy, which was awesome always. Like when we'd give him like no notice, we'd be like, "Hey, yeah, Dad, Halloween's in like 2 days. Can you give us something? We really like Mortal Kombat." And he'd be like, "God, chingos, okay." And then he'll just get to work, and then he made us like Scorpion, Sub Zero, and Reptile costumes for like Halloween, and like I know a lot of people don't get that, so I thank you, Dad, for doing that. Like that was dope as hell. That's also one of my favorite like costumes ever was dressing up as Scorpion. Still playing Scorpion till this day. Like it's that I'm sure that's why I like him because of that.
That's
Um,
cool.
but yeah, it was good times. Um, let's see. Do you guys have any tradition like? I guess like, do you guys watch something or play something or eat something special? Like, I know people hate candy corn, but I mean, I'm a big fan of candy
I
corn.
like
Actually,
candy corn. Fuck.
I
yeah.
I can't do candy corn.
No.
What's wrong with you?
I'm like, who buys this stuff? Like, because they're obviously still selling it and they're still in business. I'm like, who's buying it? So I guess I
Okay,
know who. You
who
and
buys Tootsie Rolls?
I'd get Tootsie Rolls too.
Oh
I
no.
don't mind. I think I
there's a
like
lot of weird
garbage
stuff out
candy.
there.
I love garbage candy. Like I'll see something nasty, I'll be like, yeah, I'll take that.
Oh.
um, but okay, let's see. We can move on to the next one. So the next one I got on the list is favorite horror movies or horror video games.
Can we
Whether you've
do
played
horror
them or like,
villains?
Horror
I guess
oh,
movies.
that would go
that's
into
coming up.
the
That's coming up.
movie. I'm sorry?
That's coming up. Horror
Okay.
icons is like that. I want to go into that.
Horror
Last.
movies or
Versus
video
okay.
games. Well, I hate doing my favorite, as you all know. Like I hate picking one. So
I mean, you can pick whatever.
I have a few things, but my current modern favorite horror movie is Hereditary. Um,
That's a good pick.
like one of my current, like I'm gonna just stick it to modern because if we go historical, we get into a bunch of problems because everyone has their own opinion about everything. So
I mean,
we'll
for sure. I mean, it doesn't matter what anyone like. Whatever you think. Like when you think of Halloween or horror, like what do you think? Like, yeah, that's the movie I'm gonna watch, or like I gotta watch this at least once a year.
watch at least once a year. It's probably like not even a horror movie. It's probably like something like Halloween Town or Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, I mean that counts. Yeah, Hocus Pocus is a good pick for sure. I've never seen any of the Halloween Town movies.
Oh, they're great. They're
Oh,
I
great.
get I get trashed on all the time for not knowing
They're
anything about
great.
those. I mean, what was that on the Disney Channel or
Yeah,
something?
I think
yeah.
so. I think so.
Yeah,
It's really well done. That's when Disney was good.
I didn't grow up on Disney. Like I didn't grow up on Disney Channel or Nickelodeon. But
But yeah, my favorite horror movie is probably Hereditary, hands down. Like current, like for me, that's it. Also recently, like if it's a time period movie and just for the atmosphere, The Witch.
yeah, it's a good movie for
That
sure.
yeah.
That one took me a while to actually watch. I've always wanted to watch it and never got the chance to put it on. And then when I finally did, I was like, why didn't I watch this sooner?
Oh
Why
yeah.
didn't you guys tell me? I don't know
It's
why you guys didn't
great.
tell me.
Oh, we told you. It's great. And for like an action horror movie, for a recent one, probably like A Train to Busan.
That's a good ass movie.
Probably that one. Yeah. It's just action nonstop and it's zombies and it's just filmed so well. What about
Is
you?
there anything that like scared you as a kid? Like, God, like you remember being scared?
I
Almost everything.
seriously, yeah. Um, I've been wanting to make it a tradition, but I only get to watch it, or I guess I remember to watch it every couple of years. Is Sleepy Hollow? I feel like
Oh
that movie
yeah,
Oh.
is
Mhm.
is being
with your boy
slept on. You
Christopher
know,
Walken.
like yeah, exactly. I remember watching that as a kid on VHS, and I was just like terrified, but my eyes were glued to the screen at all times.
Yeah,
And
you know what?
then
That was good. Yeah,
and
I
then
do
I
remember.
recently watched it last year, so I definitely plan on watching it this year. It's great. I wish they
Yeah,
made a
that
remake. That'd be pretty sweet.
they should. Yeah, that'd be dope. That is a really good movie. I do agree. I think that movie is being slept on. I mean, you said it, and I don't know if that pun was intended, but it was good. But yeah, everyone is in full force in that movie for sure. Like you got Chris Walken as like a special cameo appearance. He doesn't even I don't even think he says a damn thing in the movie. He just looks menacing as all hell. You have Ray Park, aka Darth Maul and Toad from X Men, and he's doing all the trickery with the weapons as the Headless Horseman. He's awesome. Like you see him fight, and you're like, that guy's dope as hell. You have Casper Van Dien, who would have been a perfect Leon S. Kennedy, as like the guy who's fighting off the Headless Horseman. Like that fight is engaging as hell. Where even Johnny Depp's like, "Stop fighting him." Is like, "Nope, I'm gonna keep going," and he just keeps fighting him. That's
Yeah,
insane.
that's awesome.
The little kid who eats it because he's told to kill the whole family is that's insane. Johnny Depp is actually really good in this movie. He's not as he is now, where he's just a parody of himself. He was acting back then. Great. Christina Ricci was fantastic. I remember, yeah, that movie. I don't think it scared me until one part where they go into the woods, and then they meet like the White Witch. Um, because I think she's like in a gown or something, and then she like opens up her gown, and then like you see like a crazy ass face or something. I remember being like, I don't want to see what that is. I don't
Right.
want to see what that is. But yeah, that is a good movie. That is a good time.
Speaking about woods, I think anything with any movie that has to do with woods is great. Like, for example, The Witch
Yeah,
and The Ritual, which is on
the
Netflix, I
ritual.
think. Great
Yeah, that's a
movies.
good one. That's a good one for sure too. Yeah,
Yeah, I think what it is, it's like it picks at this like primordial early human um sense of dread and fear of the unknown. Like it unlocks something in every human's psyche, DNA, whatever you want to call it, spirit, whatever. But it's a
yeah,
call. It activates like a callback to the ancestral people that we once were. You know, our ancestral people that like you don't know what the heck is in those woods. You don't know what's
yeah,
been in there, what's coming out. You don't know how long. You know, you just don't know. It's the fear of the unknown, and it's just so menacing, so dark. It's naturally cold and damp. It's like everything your body kind of hates,
Yep,
unless
yeah,
it
you're a
sucks.
vampire. You know, so it's
yeah,
like yeah, it just it triggers something deep inside.
for
It's
sure. Yeah, I agree 100%. Yeah, because it's like as humans we have the natural tendency to like we need to civilize, we need to form a shelter, we need to create this, we need to be something where we build upon and then we live there. But like the woods is just it can seem endless. Like, do you see the tree amongst the woods or do you just see the woods? Like you get lost in it. And like that's the terrifying thing is you don't need to go far. Like you don't need to go underwater or into space to be lost in like an
oh yeah.
endless vista, of like things. Like that's yeah, being in the woods is like anything can kill me out here. There's anything I don't know where anything is. I don't know where to get my nearest Starbucks coffee. I'm done.
Yeah, you lose, like you said, you lose your sense of direction too. The sun isn't you can't see the sun. You can't know what north, south, east, west is. You're just there. It's kind of mesmerizing too, like tree by tree by tree by tree. It's messes you up.
Yeah. Do you have a memory, Christian, of like a horror movie that or like story or anything that messed you up as a kid?
Mess me up, no. But I've always remembered being scared, really scared of like any Chucky movie
Let's
and like
go.
cowering. Chucky was my Achilles heel as a child. Like that dude freaked me out. Scream not so much. It was probably
Gotcha.
it was probably just Chucky, honestly. Unless I saw like another like oh, The Exorcist or anything. That was terrifying too. But
Well,
anything
you
that
saw
was
that
scary,
later in life too, because we saw that together. I think
right.
the first
But
time. Yeah.
but but I would see snippets of that here and there, especially like The Exorcist 2, I think. The bad movies.
Yeah. No, we don't talk about that.
Or any like slasher horror film, like it was pretty much scary to me. But I think we all grew up with Chucky, so Chucky was my boogeyman.
That's cool. I dig that. I was watching a Chucky documentary here recently. And I guess like one of the questions that the directors and the writers get plummeted with constantly is like, who's afraid of Chucky? Like, he's a doll. Just throw him. Just kick him. You know, like, he's so small and like minuscule compared to a human body. Like, how come he's so scary? And then one of the producers like, how isn't that scary? He's getting up. He's a little thing that's coming at you full force. Like, that's terrifying. It's
Oh
a
yeah.
doll. How do you kill a doll? Like, it's it's something that every kid has everywhere. Every kid has a toy,
Right.
and like it can come to life at any moment and kill. It's not like Chucky is like in your face either. Like, he's a planner. Like, he's like, when should I attack? He waits for the opportune moment to kill, and he'll blame it on everyone else and just have everyone pointing fingers before he like does
Right.
it again. You know?
And it's easy to explain like to a child. When a child sees that, it's a doll that's moving. You don't need
Yes.
to know anything else. It's a doll that's moving with the knife. Freddy Krueger, the kid has to know what, sleeping, narcolepsy, how all that works, trying to stay awake, all these nuances, stuff like that. With Chucky, it's just no, it's a doll that's trying to kill you. You have dolls. You probably have that ugly doll sitting in the corner of your room when the lights go out and it's staring at you at night. And you're like, oh man, at any moment, this thing could get me. At
Yeah.
any moment of the night. It's simple. That's why it's scary.
It would be less scary if Chucky was human sized because you would be able to see him from a mile away coming.
Right.
When he's like
Yeah.
that small, like, dude, where is he? Is he under the
Yeah.
bed,
No.
under the table? Is he hanging from the
It's
chandelier?
yeah. He's cool because he's sneaky as shit. Like, he's awesome. And I will say, like, when it comes to a lot of these horror franchises, I think Chucky still got it. Like,
I don't know about the new one. The new one's hot garbage, but yeah.
no, dude, I love that show.
The show or the
I,
movie?
oh, well, the new one, you mean the Child's Play one with Mark Hamill?
I don't remember seeing Mark Hamill. The
Because
new
he
one
came out in the
where
reboot
he's like
with
a
like,
robot, where he's like a
yeah,
robot.
yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Hamill is Chucky in that
Oh,
one. That one is not part of the Chucky series. That's someone owned the name to Child's Play, so they made a Child's Play movie. But that one isn't about like voodoo or anything. It's
no.
about a robot. Yeah,
Oh, I thought
but
that was like a reboot or something.
yeah, they try to make their own thing, but it's not part of the Chucky series. The Chucky series, I think, is still going strong.
Oh,
And I
so
think,
it's one of those things like it exists, but we don't talk about it.
yeah, you know what? I don't. I mean, I might get shit canned, but I don't hate that movie. I think that movie's fine. If you're expecting a Chucky movie, yeah, it's not gonna hit the mark. But if you look at it as just like a movie, if you just watch it, I think it's an enjoyable movie. Like, I had fun with it. It's really funny. Like, Mark Hamill is hilarious as the good guy doll. But yeah, I don't even think I might be wrong, but I don't even think his name is Chucky. I think he's like Buddy the good guy doll or something like that.
No,
But
his
yeah,
name is Chucky.
it is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
They
But
ask him, yeah. They try to name him something else, and he's like Chucky or whatever.
oh, okay. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Um, I had a good time with it. I mean, it makes absolutely no sense. But I mean, not that the normal Chucky makes sense, but at least the normal Chucky, like the original Child's Play, that one, I think one thing that we didn't mention for it that makes it scary, at least to me when I watched, I was like, what the fuck is what's going on? Is the fact that Charles Lee Ray, like, he's a serial killer in Chicago, which is where I live. Like, I don't. This guy's living out there, like, he's out there killing people, and he knows freaking voodoo. Like, he calls upon an entity to help transfer his soul to a doll. Like, it's not like he did it himself. He called upon the forces of something to help him. Like, there's an ethereal, otherworldly aspect at work here, and that's insane. Like, it's not just about like someone's brain who got put into a doll or something. It's an entity that helped transfer his soul from one body to another just so he can keep on killing. He's like an evil Ghost Rider.
He will go straight for real.
Wait, I thought Nicolas Cage was evil.
Yeah, yeah. You think I'm evil? No, But yeah, okay. Let's see. What do I got next? So, is there any recommendations or guilty pleasure favorites for you when it comes to like movies or anything? For like horror wise, like, is there any movie you already said it, Rafa? Like, you thought Sleepy Hollow was slept on, but if you like recommend any other like slept on movie, or like, you know what, this doesn't get as much love as it should.
Um, Horror, yes, but it's also in combination with like Christmas, which is weird. Krampus.
Oh yeah.
So it's an awesome movie. I feel like a lot of people don't know about it, but it's up there. I always watch it during Christmas time, but it's horror, which
Yeah, for sure. We'll tell the people if they don't know. Like, if you're gonna pitch it to them, pitch it to them.
um, so it's a horror slash comedy, but it sounds really weird, but it's done really well. So I don't want to ruin anything, so I'm trying to think of how to
Well,
best
what's
explain it.
Krampus? Like, what is Krampus?
So it's this the evil the bad part of Christmas. So it's also an entity. Whereas if you don't behave, Krampus comes, as opposed to Santa Claus, and
Hmm.
Krampus either kills you or takes you into his world. But what's in his arsenal is probably even scarier than him. So instead of elves, he has the scary version of elves and other demonic creatures in his bag. So
That's dope.
it's
Yeah, yeah,
awesome, and it's also funny. So yeah, check it out.
yeah. All right, cool. Christian, anything?
I'm gonna go with a throwback, and it's like a shitty throwback.
That's cool. All right, guilty
Uh,
pleasure. Yeah, if you
yeah,
like it,
guilty
yeah.
pleasure. Fuck it. Let's go with. I'm gonna do two. I'm gonna do two. Let's go with Jack Frost, like that horror movie
Oh
one where
yeah,
he's like he's a killer.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that. Let's go with Jack Frost. It doesn't get it. No one talks about that movie. I almost felt like it was a fever dream of mine, seeing a killer snowman. But yeah, I think it's
Killer snowman.
underrated. It's not the greatest movie, but it left an impression to me as a kid, and it scared the living spirit out of me. Like it, I just remember it. It's so wacky. It's so crazy. It's over the top. Like freaking Jack Frost comes to life. I think it's the same premise. Might be the same premise as Chucky, if I don't remember correctly, but it might be the same premise as Chucky. But yeah, Jack Frost. It doesn't get enough talk about it. It's a bad movie, but it's so cool. Another recommendation that I feel like doesn't get enough recognition are like the VHS movies. I really enjoy those. A lot of was it is it the VHS? No, yeah, VHS, not the
ABC's of Death.
ABCs. ABCs of Death is good too. So those type of movies, these short snippets of horror, you can get like a bite-sized serving of different types and different versions of horror because not every horror movie is the same. And yeah, I think those don't get enough like traction. Those are really good um servings of those types of movies where you want a little taste of this type of horror, here you go. Or you want something different, here you go. You want to see a director experimenting on something, you can check this out. Those are good times. But Jack Frost for sure.
Yeah, that's a really good. I've never even seen those ones until you came over and we saw one of them. I think it was ABCs of Death, like part two or something. But yeah, like, I never seen like those ones where it's like little snippets of, a movie, or like done in like 5 minutes or whatever. But VHS, I think I saw a little bit. I think I saw that one where the guy from the Raid directed it.
Yep.
Uh, that one was cool. That
Sounds
was a really good.
phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good movie for sure. Um, but yeah, yeah, I that's good. Yeah, I think those are slept on. I think they have like a cult following, but I don't think enough people like actually get to watch them. Um, let's see. I guess one series. I'll say one series. I don't think gets enough praise that I think should, and it's definitely a good time. Like they're fun watches. Even like they know they're B horror movies, but I think they do B horror great. Is Adam Green's like well hell Adam Green's filmography period, but like the Hatchet series. I don't think the Hatchet series gets enough love. I think that guy should be one like he should be up there with horror icons. He's great. I mean, he's played by Kane Hodder, the guy who plays the most iconic Jason roles. Like he's Hatchet series is great. I think they have four of them, and each one of them is fantastic. Like they're all fun, and there's such a like love letter to all horror movies. He brings back other horror icons and puts them in there, just like to be like, dude, you were part of my childhood, so let me put you in like my adulthood by putting you in this movie. So that series I think gets slept on a lot, but another Adam Green movie which I think not a lot of people know about, but I think is a really good movie, and I made you watch this one, Rafa, was Digging Up the Marrow. I don't even know if you remember that movie. Um,
Sounds super familiar.
but it's like a documentary based movie where Adam Green is a director, and he starts getting letters from this guy who's like, monsters are real. They live with us just
Oh yeah,
underground.
that was great.
Yeah, and it just Adam Green's like, oh, this guy's just messing with me. Like, monsters don't exist, but wouldn't it be cool if they exist? And it's basically just him and this random, maybe crazy guy trying to find out if monsters live amongst us. So that one for sure, I think, is a good time.
That one is. I just remember like at the end, like my jaw was hitting the floor. I was just like in disbelief. I was like, "What did I watch?" But it was so good.
Yeah, dude, I respect Adam Green a lot. But yeah, those are some movies that I think are slept on. Um, I guess. I guess the other thing I got is your horror icon favorite, and this can be any icon. Like it doesn't have to be like the big ones, but your favorite like iconic horror villain that you can think of. And you can go Universal Monsters, you can go modern day, you can do whatever you want.
I was actually thinking about this one quite a lot earlier, and I was just running the list of like all the villains um, that I could think of to see which one's my favorite one because there's obviously a
It's
whole
hard.
bunch. Yeah, it is
Yeah,
hard, and a lot of honorable mentions. But my personal favorite villain is Michael Myers.
the shape.
Yep, I believe he's one, if not the best villain. And I think what makes him that is like the mystery aspect that keeps us all wanting more. Like out of all the movies, he does the exactly same, but we're gonna go watch it, right? Because it's Michael Myers, Halloween.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
mean, yeah, for
I
sure.
was thinking, I was like, well, why is he the best villain? And I was looking at all of the other villains' characteristics, and I realized that Michael Myers, out of everyone else, is a villain without a motive. Like, though Laurie Strode piques Michael Myers' interest, there's no clear indication that he'll stop killing once he kills her, right? So
Oh
maybe,
yeah,
so
of
there's just
course.
no reason, there's no reason, no conscience, no understanding of even the most rudimentary sense of death or life or good or evil, right or wrong, etc.
Yeah,
And I think that makes it like awesome. He doesn't talk, the way he walks, the way he kills. Um, and it leaves you with that question like, okay, so is he human, is he supernatural? And even though my different directors throughout different movies try to explain it a little bit, um like for example, Rob Zombie tells the story of Michael Myers being the byproduct of a broken family, right? That might be not my favorite,
now clean it up. Yeah. I
right?
was good to
But
you,
then
Mikey. I was
and
good to
in
you.
other ones, it's like scary because a 6 year old, when Michael Myers was a kid, just thinking a child could be like psychopath is like terrifying, and even what's his name, Doctor
Loomis.
Loomis? Yeah,
Yeah.
he says he's pure evil.
Yeah.
Is he human? Is he not human? I think all those questions just play into his character, and thus being my favorite villain. So,
Loomis is a pussy. And I like Loomis, but I don't know if you remember. I will never forget. I think it was. I'm gonna butcher this one, but I think it was Halloween 4. It might have been 5 when he's going after like his niece, and then Loomis is trying to kill Michael Myers, and then Michael's like coming after him, and then he's like, "Here's your niece. She's right here." He picks her up like a
oh
human shield.
yeah,
It's like, "Hey, he's right here," and just like could try to shoot him, and he fails horribly. Like, you bastard! You just used a 10-year-old girl as a shield.
but it
Like,
makes sense. It kind of makes sense. He is a pussy, but like his obsession led him to like do anything possible to get to Michael Myers. But
yeah, I mean, yeah, you could, but I just like you put pure innocence in the face of pure evil. Like, how dare you? You call yourself a doctor? You're gonna scar that child for life. But yeah, I mean, you know what? You kind of just you saying that about Michael Myers. I think you might have won me back over for Michael Myers because he's definitely he's great as a villain for sure. But I think now, like in my maturity, and I say that with quotes because I'm not too mature, but in my mature years, I guess I've come to like hate Michael Myers. Just like when I think about him, like, dude, you had what, 3 good movies, like 4 good movies, and all the other ones suck. Like that Halloween trilogy that came out does no favors for him. He got his ass whooped on by a random like 18-year-old, like Michael, like how far you have fallen. So like I kind of gauge Michael now with like the his filmography, and I'm like, dude, you're a joke in more than half of your movies. But you saying like, he has no motive, he's just a shape, like he's just this thing like that, like him being pure evil and just he kills because you're in his way. There's no other reason for it. Or maybe he wants to go out and kill. Like you don't know. You have no idea. And as a child, he killed people, and you don't know what was he possessed? Is he evil? Like what is it about him? The Rob Zombie one definitely sucks with like, oh, he comes from a broken home. Oh, well, that takes away the mystery aspect. But the mystery is what
mhm,
gives Michael Myers like the fear for everyone else. Like that's what's fear inducing is you don't know and you'll never know, and that's what makes it awesome. Like that's what makes him iconic, I think. So yeah, that's
absolutely.
dope. Christian, is it Chucky?
No, no. It's
Your
my
turn.
childhood favorite, but no, not Chucky. For me, I would have to say it's got to be Hellraiser's Pinhead.
Pinhead. Yeah, I had that one as your pick before you were talking about Chucky. But yeah, go ahead.
Yeah,
The pleasures.
it's just he comes in because if I remember correctly in the original movie, um, people were messing around with the box that brings them one of their wishes, whether it's ultimate pleasure, pain, or what have you. And they solve the box's riddle. They ask for what they want, and then the Cenobites come and lay claim to the person that fulfilled the the puzzle of the
Who opened
box,
it?
who opened it. Um, yeah, he's just billed, I think, as just the lead of the lead Cenobite. But as the story progresses, it's evident that every time Pinhead walks into the scene or appears out of nowhere, you messed up, or something messed up's gonna happen. He just doesn't show up on screen for anything. He shows up on the screen and stuff's gonna go down. Someone's gonna get chained, someone's gonna be split open apart, someone's gonna be transported to that. I don't know if it's inside the box or it's another reality or wherever it is, wherever the Cenobites are, and get processed through the pleasures, the pains, that whole can of worms that is the other dimension that they're from. And just looking at the character, out of all the horror icons, he may be the most distinct looking out of all of them, other than maybe Freddy Krueger. But Freddy Krueger's sweater kind of like
Well,
does
he's
all the
ready
work
for
for him.
Christmas.
It does all the work for him, you know. But just what kind of torture and torment this individual must have gone through to look like that, you know? You see that face and that face alone, and you're like,
I'm out of here.
there's 1,000 stories to tell, but I don't want to hear one of them. You know, it's like
Yeah,
when the
for sure.
Joker was, you know how I got these scars? No,
Yeah,
yeah, I don't give a damn. But with this guy, I for sure don't want to hear that. You know,
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't want to know how that happened, but yet I'm intrigued. Like as a watcher, you're like, what the heck did this guy go through? And yeah, to me, that's my current favorite icon. It just the look, the aesthetic, the vibe, his British accent. It's like I don't know. He hits on all the markers for me. Like yeah, it's not like any. It's not your traditional American slasher. It's not your traditional American horror guy. This guy is freaking weird, and I'm all for it. And the movies themselves touch upon like different subjects of like you know the depravity of human beings, and it can be a really deep movie, and it because it's all it touches on really deep subjects, and Pinhead just carries that pace on so well whenever he's on screen, and whenever the box is involved, you know he's coming, and it's thrilling and it's scary, and it's really fucking cool. Um, but yeah, it didn't help that he has a lot of bad movies as well.
yeah.
Hellraiser is plagued by bad movies. But I think the newer one, the reboot or what reimagining or whatever you want to call it, did a really good job, and they even were able to do something that I don't think any horror icon has able to do well, which is change the main horror lead. They changed Pinhead into a female. They changed it into a woman, and nobody bats an eye. It doesn't skip a beat. It works, and it works really well. And I think it works really well because of Hellraiser's of Pinhead's look. Like
Yeah,
it's androgynous, but it's also it's just it works so well that it doesn't matter who puts it on. It works. And it's fucking scary. And it did it well. And I don't think I've ever seen any other horror icon make such a not that it's a drastic shift, but it make a shift like that and work, you know? Like you would never picture uh well, actually, I haven't seen it, but they haven't done it. And I'm sure they'd be scared to change up Freddy Krueger or Michael Myers, you know, to that extent. And maybe because they can't either, because it's hard written, you know, Michael Myers.
I mean they did in the last one, and they
Did they?
failed horribly.
Oh well, there you go. But yeah,
I mean,
it
yeah,
worked. It worked, and it worked really well. And I really recommend the modern Hellraiser for people who want to get into it. Um, watch the original and then watch the modern one, and you're practically set.
I think I need to rewatch them. I don't remember too much of them, but now that you mention it, like I think you make like a very good point because we're used to like your typical like demons from hell, spirits, entities, supernatural characters. Like this person's from another dimension. Like a demon, you could just pick up a Bible and you have a chance, right?
Right.
Like how do you fight someone from a different dimension?
And then you summoned it.
yeah.
This
The box.
yeah,
You opened it.
we came, Jesus wept. Like
Damn.
it's
Yeah.
Oh
just
my god.
it's epic. And the fact that like yeah, it's epic. And like you said, how do you fight something from another dimension? But it also like it just it gnaws at a lot of the things that I find really interesting about human existence, like physical, spiritual pleasures, but also the other plane, like what came before us, what will be after us when we leave this plane of existence, what's there. And all you see in this movie is like the Cenobites and that type of world, and like, is that really what's next, or is this the final transformation of us, or like, because that's all you see, and this is something you brought on yourself by working on the box. It's terrifying, and it's so complex. It's super
Yeah,
complex.
I agree. Like I think again, I need to rewatch them. I remember watching like the first two, and like enjoying them, but then I remember them coming out with so many more, and I was like, yeah, I'm not watching anything else. But like, it just very striking visually too. Is just like the other realm where the Cenobites live, like them going there. Hell, the uncle, the pervy uncle who has like a skinless. He's skinless throughout the entire movie. Like you just see
Oh
his
yeah.
like blood dripping all the like everywhere just because he has no skin. It's a disgusting visual, and it's also like they blend and blur the line between like hurt harm and like pleasure, and that's always what they do. Like the pleasures. What a waste of good suffering. Like they decide to basically blur that line between pain and pleasure throughout the entire film. And like what horrors did Pinhead endure to become like the leader or whatever? And you see like snippets of him playing the box beforehand, and he's just like a isn't he just like a working man? Like he like a mailman or like a delivery person or something? Like
Something like that. It was something really basic.
yeah, he's just a normal guy who found the
He
box,
was
I think, like at a
unassuming.
construction zone, and like he plays it. He has no idea what he's doing, but he's like, "Fuck it, I'll play with this," and he unleashes hell. Like that's insane, and he becomes from a very non type of character, a very basic like NPC, to Pinhead, someone who just like demands to be the center of attention. He commands every scene he's in, just because of the way like he's not expressionless. He just his face is just like complete white, pins coming out of his head, and he's just like he'll yell at you, but he has a calmness about him. He's such a like I don't even like everything about him is contradictory, and that's why it's so good. Like he's such a good character. The mystery behind it, the way that we don't know anything about the other world. I mean, I think that's what makes horror horror. It's the unknown, and it's the way that these horror movies or games shape the unknown for
Yeah.
like, each of these characters.
Mm-hmm.
What drives Michael Myers to kill? What is a Cenobite? What's the entity that Chucky is calling upon to transfer his soul from one thing to another? Like, why is Freddy Krueger alive in dreams? Like, what causes these things to be? Why is Jason Voorhees a 30-year-old zombie when he died at the age of like 8? What the hell is going on? It's all of these things that you just don't have an answer for, and that's what makes them scary. Like you don't know, and that's dope. Like it's dope as hell. That's terrifying. So yeah, that's good. Hellraiser is a good pick. I just need to rewatch them. I just need to rewatch them.
Alex, what's your favorite villain in horror?
See, I was thinking about this one too. I don't know. Like there are so many to pick from, and like I was drawing all the little horror icons, and I was like, this is my favorite. Like Ghostface is my favorite. Like engaging horror villain. Like he's just very. He'll talk shit to you, and he's human, which I think is scary to me. Like because he can be anybody. Like one of us can be Ghostface, because he's not an entity. Like he's just a friend who's psychotic. So that's going just the way that he talks. Like he'll call somebody up and he'll be like, "Yo, I'm gonna kill you." Like that's terrifying just because it can happen to anybody. But like I don't know. I love all the like Freddy Krueger is one of the better ones for me. I think it just helps because he has a great filmography. Like I can watch all of his movies except probably part 2 and the one with Jackie Earl Haley or whatever, that reboot. Ugh. But other than that, all the movies I'll watch. I'll watch them back to back to back. They're all great. He's cool. Like, if you go to sleep, he got you. Like, you can't do shit. You might think you can fight him, but if you have nobody to wake you up, you can't just force yourself awake. Like, you're messing. Like, you're done. So that's scary. But I think the one I landed on, and I don't think it's my favorite, but I think it holds a very special place. I think in my horror mindset is Jigsaw. Just because I was there at its inception, like I was there when it first came out. I think part one blew me away when I saw it. I was like, "Damn, this is next gen horror. Like that's a badass icon. This is filmed great. The
Right.
acting, everything was good. Like he's a cool looking bad guy, and not only did he give us one awesome face with Billy the Puppet, but he also has a awesome face with the pig mask. Like those are two iconic looks in one movie. And it's like I've watched all of them since. Like I think my knowledge in Jigsaw movies is like the best it's been in any other horror movie. And like I'm so glad that this one saw X. It's a good movie. It's a good movie. Like they didn't do it wrong. Unlike Spiral, which we don't talk about.
I still need to see that new one. I'm pretty excited.
It's good. It's good. I enjoy the hell out of it. But yeah, I think if anything, I think it's a tie between Jigsaw, Ghostface, and Freddy. Like those are my top three right now. That's the holy horror trinity for me.
That one's pretty good. I think Saw is awesome because it's scary from the point of view that you're gonna die, but it also makes you question: would I be able to play this game and do the things that is required for me to live? You know,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
it's like
yeah,
mind games.
yeah.
So that's awesome.
I think yeah, like what makes that one cool is like I mean, the movies that pass on too, like eventually you're like, oh my god, what is he here for? Like, you like to play video games way past your bedtime. So do you want to play again? Like, dude, come on, bro. Like
Game over.
that like, dude, you can't do anything. Like, where does he draw the line? But I think like in the very first ones, it is such a like I think it helps to question your life, like if you go out there and you decide to like drink every single day to like destroy your liver, like you don't care, you'll drive drunk, like you just like a complete asshole, he'll come for you. Like that's who he's coming for people who don't value their lives or like do shitty things to other people. And that's who he's getting. So I think it helps like the viewer sometimes just like check their moral compass and be like, damn, am I being an asshole for doing this? Like maybe I should not do that anymore, or maybe like, oh, I'm good. If you're like a good human being and like he's not coming for you, you're safe, you're fine.
I
But if
think
you're doing shitty things, like he's coming after you.
I think that's like a thing almost all horror movies kind of tend to do, like if warn us about the straight and narrow as well. Like if you're a good human being, you wouldn't be in this dumb predicament right now. If you were a good person, went to bed at a reasonable time, did what you had to do, guess what? You wouldn't be here.
And you
But yeah,
weren't
I think
nosy looking around at every fucking creek, you heard something? Nah, I ain't checking that shit out.
I ain't
Fuck
checking
that.
that exactly. You're walking away, baby. I'm out. But yeah, Saw does that really well. It makes you look at your own life, and I thought about that for sure when like the first one came out. I'm like, man, am I, can I be like, let's just say hypothetically there is Jigsaw. Not that we're advocating for it.
No, no, no.
Let that be known. We are not
Yes.
advocating for any of that. But hypothetically, let's say there was a Jigsaw. Am I immune to him or her coming and snatching me up and putting me in the game? Like it's a good look at your life and to check it every once in a while. And I think that's the beauty of horror movies too. It's like to remind you of your mortality, like how quickly it can go for one. You could be
Yeah.
snuffed out real dang quick, but also like check yourself. Remember, like it's okay. Life is fleeting. Get scared now. Check your life, reassess, and Move on.
Yeah, I think that's spot on for
That's why
sure.
I don't understand and don't like people who don't like horror movies. Like, what's wrong with you?
Yeah, I see. Going into that, like just people who don't like horror movies. I I think horror in itself, the genre in itself, like whether it be a book or a movie or a game, like it hits such a primal aspect of like our emotions that it makes us feel like something that you can't otherwise feel. Like the blood's pumping, you're excited, you're scared, you want to live, but you're also like, damn, I don't know if I can. Like there's so many things about horror that just hit spots that other things cannot.
Yeah.
It gets the adrenaline and
It
like,
makes you uncomfortable, and that's a good thing.
yeah, like it prepares you, who knows for what, but like it prepares you, and it just hits certain buttons, and it's like, I it helped for sure shape everything that like I do. Like, oh, I need some horror in here. Like whenever we talk Gears, they need to make it horror again, they need to make it more scary, like there's just something about fear and horror that just hits different than everything else.
And that's why I hate people that say they don't like them and they avoid them. It's like you need some of this in your life every now and then. Like
Yeah.
you don't need it every day. Now you don't need to be like some horror freak and be like, oh, I've seen everything and I keep watching. Like no, but you
No
need
offense to
this.
the horror freaks.
Yeah, no offense, but you need like a balance. You can't everything can't just be happy go lucky. Oh, I'm watching the 15th installment that Marvel spoon fed me of the same regurgitated stuff. It's like no, you need this visceral primordial break that hits certain strings in your life that you may otherwise never experience. And I feel
Yeah.
like a lot of people who are well off and never struggle definitely need more horror movies in their lives, because they can simulate some of that. It won't be a one for one for struggling and pain, but it definitely can help them reflect.
Yeah, I think it also just helps to like make people closer, like it since it does hit some certain aspects, like you have a movie hit that aspect when you're like watching it with somebody, and you feel a certain way. Like, I mean, you mentioned Hereditary earlier. I remember watching that movie in theaters, and everyone was saying, "Oh, it's the scariest thing since The Exorcist," and I was like, "Okay, yeah, like you guys are just jerking it off, but it's not gonna be that great. It's just gonna be a decent movie." And then I actually went with Nancy to watch that movie. As soon as we got out of that theater, I always have some shit to say about a movie. Like, man, that thing sucked, or that was good. That was like this, that was that. I didn't have anything to say. I was stunned. Like, I was speechless on the way home. I was like, I don't. It hit such a visceral part that it was just like, yeah, I don't. I feel uncomfortable even talking about it. Like,
Yeah.
that's insane, but it's a good movie that it hit that sort of like side.
Yeah.
That car ride home was really quiet. I just
It
remember
Oh
was,
that
yeah,
for me.
dude, yeah. It was like, damn. Like, yeah, that I
because
mean,
it's
if
got
no one's seen
everything.
it,
Yeah.
watch it. Like, it's definitely worth a watch. I wouldn't watch it again. First time's enough for me, but it's worth a watch.
That happened to me not too long ago with The Whale too. It's not a horror movie. I mean, it is kind of a physical horror. I would
Yeah.
say it's not your traditional horror. Some people wouldn't even classify it as horror, and that's fine.
Well,
But I
it's just
think
a drama.
it's a drama. But like his
It's just
body's
drama.
i- the limits being put to is horror. It's a
Yeah.
horror. It's not. He is the thing. He's a mass of a human hidden and covered in excess. And that left me like that too. And I was like, wow.
Yeah, that's a good time. Well, not a good time, but that's a good movie. That was a good movie.
But
I
yeah,
remember
yeah.
not thinking it was the best, but like I think it was just too slow for me. But I like the last 15 minutes of that movie for sure. I think are pure classic cinema. Like
Oh yeah.
I was like, damn, that's good.
It
Like
was an
holy
experience that
Jesus
those last
Christ.
a semi horror movie that was kind of an experience like that too. Not too long ago, I think for me was A Quiet Place.
Oh yeah.
The first one, at least. I like both of them, but the first one for sure. I saw it in the theaters, and I think I remember telling you guys where, for the first time in my life, I could hear a pin drop in a movie theater. Like everyone was in tune with this movie and what it was trying to do to you. Everyone. I think I heard someone munch on popcorn like for a split second, and then they realized they could hear themselves munch on popcorn. And if they can hear themselves munch on popcorn, everyone was hearing it. They stopped. I didn't hear one munch after from
I, I
anybody.
I was
Better
holding my
shut that
breath
mouth.
at certain points of the movie because I didn't want the fucking things to hear me.
But I
It
didn't
was
hear
that good.
anything since. And I think that was really good too. Like the experience some of these horror movies can have on you, a lot of other movies can't do. You
Yeah,
know, like dramas, stuff like that. It's gonna make you cry, do the usual. But I think horror movies and thrillers like these are able to, like we said, primordial, but evoke something out of you that other movies just can't do. And we have to learn how to appreciate that more
for
as a
sure.
society.
I'll actually. I think I'm gonna cut this episode down here. But if you guys want to do another one, I'm more than happy to. I am going to give you guys homework. I mean, I'm sure you guys already seen this, but I would like you guys to watch It Follows if you haven't, or rewatch it if you have, if you can by the end of the week.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I've seen that one before, and I don't mind doing that again.
Oh, the PSA on teenage relations.
Yes, that one.
Absolutely.
All right. But thank you guys for listening. Thank you, Rafa. Thank you, Christian, for being in on this podcast.
Absolutely,
Thank you
absolutely.
for having
Thanks
us.
everyone.
All right. Bye.
This is